Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It's me. It's me. It's Mike Lepre. It's April 5th, 2021. I'm so warm yet cold, yet warm yet cold, where I'm up here on third floor in the attic. That guy, I'm fogging up my own glasses. I'm just sitting here fogging up my own glasses. That's I got going on. Joining me on this legit fantasy baseball show on April 5th, 2021. As always, is the coach, TJ. How are we, coach?
How you doing tonight?
I'm in a padded cell.
Yeah, what is that behind you?
Yeah, I'm in a padded cell. We'll go on to explain that.
Speaking of padded cells,
Bring us
the Red Sox.
Paranormal. Hey, Joe, how are we tonight?
Oh, as good as I could be, I guess.
You belong in King Mike's padded cell. That's where you belong.
Yep,
Hey,
that's right.
So we're shooting to get the highest draft pick we can this year. Got to rebuild the farm system some way, huh? Right? I mean, that's
all right. All right. Enough with your Red Sox stuff. Now I finally have something that I can talk about. Now, baseball. First of all, thank you for tuning in. If you are tuning in for Legit Fantasy Baseball, brought to you by Legit Fantasy Sports, we appreciate it. But however, I will never get political on this show or on any of our shows because I made a promise. But I will address this, and I think we do deserve to, and we should address this. Who the is baseball? Who the does the MLB think they are? I swear to God, who are they now? Why are you making a decision based on something that's legitimately political? You're taking a side. What do you get out of here with that? Because you don't like the rule that they want to show an ID when you vote? I mean, fall on your sword for something better than that. But imagine that's the thing, that they have an issue with that state wants to have a thing where, and then we even gonna have the president weigh in, not getting political, but that didn't help. So now, they go, you know what? No All-Star game, no draft, not in this state, not because of the law you passed and the thing that you guys voted on for your own state. Because you did that, we're taking it away from you. We're taking away the All-Star game. We're taking away the draft. So again, I ask you, TJ, who does the MLB think they are?
Well, here's the problem, and the MLB did a pretty good job of staying out of the politics for the most part.
Yeah.
And to insert themselves here is a problem on a number of levels. Number one, MLB is a game struggling right now for fans. Like, they need all the help they can get. They need everybody in the building they can get. They need every eyeball, every league pass, because we know this is a league in decline. I mean, your youth participation is down. The town I'm in has like 2 T-ball teams. We used to have a whole bunch of farm league teams in our town. They're down to like 3 teams playing a round robin. So kids are turned off by the game anyway. So you're dealing with an older demographic, and in baseball, you're dealing with a higher income demographic than you are in the other 2 major sports, right? What they needed to do is to make the focus be about the game. But instead, the first major story of baseball this year is this garbage. And who do they think they are? I don't know, because it wasn't necessary. So the next big story you're going to hear is the Atlanta Braves suing Major League Baseball. Because when they determine who's hosting the All-Star game, those are contracts. That's not like they don't do that stuff like having company over on a Tuesday. This isn't poker night. This is a multi-million-dollar operation, and there's a contract with the city of Atlanta. So now baseball is going to go from being in the middle of it for the politics. Now they're going to be in the middle of a lawsuit run by one of their own teams. In the meantime, the district of where they decided to pull this game from is the bluest, most Democrat district that needs every dollar it can get in the state of Georgia. So now, Joe Biden, you pork the people of your own constituents in that town. Good job by Major League Baseball, because I'll tell you right now, I obviously canceled League Pass. So if we're going to do this, then I'm going to do that too. So there's no MLB package in my house. they can kiss my ass and my $300, just like I did with the NBA. And I got news. The baseball watching demographic are above middle average income Americans that are not into this bull crap coming from them. So I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. You know what? If you want to fall on the sword, then fall on the sword, and I hope you die. And that's where baseball is right now for me. And on the other side of the coin, if you're looking at in tonight in Arlington, they got 45,000 people at a baseball game tonight. They got 45,000. So either you're going to have teams getting out of these liberal bastions and going into Republican states, relocating when they can, or you're going to watch the sport suffer. And guess what? They did it to themselves, because all you have to do, Major League Baseball, is shut up and play baseball.
Joe, why did they get involved?
I don't know. They're trying to appeal to the woke culture, I guess. I'll be honest with you. I haven't been following this as tightly as I should, because this stuff just annoys the hell out of me. It's not the fight that I want a sport that I watch heavily to be taking. There's a lot of things going on in this country that I think need attention. And honestly, even going through a quick rundown of some of the changes to the voting laws, I mean, there's nothing that stands out to me that seems like it's in any way hurting a certain group, or that's not doing anything that isn't going to appease a large number of people who were already up in arms over the last election anyway. Again, I haven't read it too heavily. I'm kind of going through some of the key points, but I think baseball wanted to seem like they were at the forefront of some kind of big movement, or they were going to be the champions of some kind of thing, and it's blowing up in their face.
So is this basketball's fault? Is that what this is? Did basketball set a precedent, and now baseball's like, oh, geez, we got to do something to respond to it like basketball did, and then they got to go this far?
Well, here's this. There's 1,000 Major League Baseball players on a Major League roster at the beginning of opening day, right? You add all the guys up, it comes to about 1,000. The players that made this decision or went to the commissioner with the decision is a group of like 40 guys that banded together after the George Floyd stuff. So you got 40 guys making a decision on $100 million in the city, in that community, right? Because they're so woke. So is it basketball's fault? I don't know. Is it Colin Kaepernick's fault? I don't know. But here's what I do know. Baseball is on the absolute decline. And when you do something like this and you alienate a whole bunch more people than are already bored with your 5-hour ball games, when you go ahead and do something like this and insert yourself into this, you don't want this fight.
You know what? No, you don't. You know, look. So here's the thing. I feel like baseball is trying to get people back. They're trying to get people to come back to baseball. Football doesn't have to worry about that. Right. I don't think basketball even does. I think right now baseball's trying to get people back. Here's an issue I have. Again, this has nothing to do with politics, because I don't care whose side came up with that rule and why. It's the point of why would you change what baseball does based on a law that a state passed that's so not threatening? Whatever. Maybe you think it's threatening. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. But my point is this. So now that they do this, okay. So I'm going to be, and I'm almost there. So say I'm average Joe American, okay? Let me put myself about 10 years older than I am now, right? Put myself in that sweet spot, right? Now, I want to go back to baseball. I'm bored. I'm in the house more. I decide, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll give baseball another chance. Now, the first thing is the names have all changed. And I'm not saying that in a racist way. I'm saying that in an obvious way. They're all changed. It's just there's a lot more Hispanic names, a lot more vowels, a lot more names that are, tougher to pronounce. So if I'm that average guy, how do I put this? It's tough to get back into it when it's tough to pronounce the names. So you got to make that extra effort. So you do. And then they do this. So again, I'm not there yet because it doesn't bother me enough, but I can see how that coupled with what they just did now, sticking their nose somewhere it didn't belong, it's got to make this whole gigantic group of Americans just go, hey, you know what? I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't want nothing to do with baseball right now, because people gave up, like you said, people gave up football. I had Giants fans that were like, I'm not watching the Giants this year. And I'm like, what? Why? And they're like, oh, because of football. And I'm like, yeah, but I still watch the Giants, right? But with baseball, it's almost like, look, if I wasn't doing a show on it, I might shut it off for about a month because
it's an older demographic. It is. As far as the Latin influx of players and the last names and all that stuff here, baseball can't even get that right because the flavor of baseball that those guys play, where they're freaking throwing bats after hitting home runs and they're sliding hard and they're talking trash. Baseball needs to embrace that.
Yep.
If anything you're going to take from those guys that come up here, they're not all stiff country boys like we have, where you can't round the bases, you can't look at the pitcher after you hit a home run. Like the first time we get some emotion in a baseball game yesterday, they suspend the guy for 2 effing games. It's like baseball can't. You know what it is? They try too hard.
Didn't get out of their own way. Yeah.
Stay out of the way. Stay out of the politics. Stay out of let the kids play. They're only kids. Let them bang their chest. Let them slide in and then talk trash to the catcher. But every single move, every single thing baseball touches, they get it wrong. And it's 100% of the time. And it sucks because the game in its purest form is the best game that there is. Like, it really is. I like baseball so much better than basketball that it sucks that I was only good at basketball. But MLB as an organization, just ridiculous. How they can't figure out what to do, and these young players with their emotion, that's what the game needs.
They don't even like use their young stars and promote them the right way. There's not, because they don't really promote anybody the right way in baseball. Like, who are the household names nowadays? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they don't promote people the right way like basketball does or like football does. Like, we know all these people. Everybody knows all these people. Baseball is not as easy as to.
I'll say that with so again, I'm an avid gamer. Controllers to my right here. I've been playing MLB The Show for years and years and years. Their campaign with how they're presenting the game online, how the ad campaign with Fernando Tatis Jr. as the cover athlete, with Jackie Robinson as like a special cover athlete for a special edition. I will say they are doing a really good job of trying to get in a different demographic who uses social media, Instagram, Twitter a lot more, with some of the short videos they're doing. And that's one aspect I'll give baseball credit for. And it's really not even baseball. It's actually Sony who makes the game. But it's things like that I think they need to do. And it goes back to what Coach was saying. I mean, I love, one of my favorite things that's happened in sports over the past few years was Joey Batista with his 10-foot bat flip, and I think it was the ALDS or CS, or when he socked Rougned Odor I think Rougned Odor socked him in the face at second base. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you there need to be brawls out at second base every week, but I mean, look at hockey. I mean, even hockey's kind of gotten away from their fights, but for years that was part of hockey. If some guy pissed you off, you went up, you checked him into the boards, and if he didn't like it, you guys just started throwing fists. And I mean, baseball needs some spice like that. And I mean, you get Castellanos just kind of flexes on a pitcher. I mean, I think it was a chump move. That's a different story. I mean, the pitcher didn't mean to hit him, but still, baseball needs that stuff. And then, there's a demographic that doesn't like this. So please sit in the dugout for 2 games and we'll see you later.
But if you remember the NFL tried to do this and get rid of remember the no fun league year where they were like touchdown celebrations? And then you realize that people want to see the celebrations. Like, if a guy hits a walk-off home run, I want to see it. If a pitcher strikes out a guy in a big spot, I want to see him stare him down all the way back to the dugout. Like, baseball can need anything because there's absolutely no excitement in the ball games at this point. These things are just dragging on. They're doing their best, but my goodness, World Series games in the 80s were like almost under 2 hours, and now a regular Yankees game is a nightmare to watch. But very disappointing for baseball to get into politics. And then the first time they had an on-field incident, they got that wrong too. So. Not good. Go, Mike.
Yeah,
I want to point out.
Good.
I'm worried about
right now. Good.
There's another big story that came out of baseball too, and it's is this guy. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, but his name's Akil Badu, and he hits a grand slam in the first pitch he sees as a major leaguer. This guy had Tommy John surgery in 2019. Never played above high A. I believe it was high A ball. Gets picked by the Detroit Tigers in the Rule 5 draft, which is like a supplemental draft where you can pick a guy on any roster that's not protected on the 40-man roster. He has to stay on your team for the whole season. If if he's just terrible and you want to put him in the minors, you actually have to give him back to the original team you picked him from. So they picked this kid, They put him on their team. They started him. The first pitch he sees hits a grand slam. And actually last night he just hit another grand slam. It's a huge story. No one's talking about it because baseball can't promote the right players.
Yeah.
No, they can't. They can't. They really can't. So, all right. Opening day. Let's talk about some people that stood out, some games that stood out to you. Joe, do you have any games or teams you want to lead off with as far as stood out on opening day?
Yeah. I know Coach TJ is not going to like this, but I think the Blue Jays looked really good. Their offense is looking really good right now. Their pitching's pitching better than I thought they were. Their bullpen's looking really good. So I think the Blue Jays definitely are one team that stood out to me. The other team I was really kind of that I'm a little disappointed with was the White Sox. I thought the White Sox were going to get to a harder start too, but they're kind of they kind of crapped out a big dud their first series. But I was really impressed with how the Blue Jays looked against the Yankees. And even today, I think they won today 6-1, if I'm not mistaken.
The 6-2, I think
6-2.
They go to 3.
Yeah. So that's kind of who's impressed me right now. I think the Blue Jays in a very tough AL East, they came out swinging.
So, DJ, what about you? Because we kind of like the Blue Jays, if I remember. So we were talking about them. They seem like the team. Am I back?
We do, yeah. I'll tell you what. Houston got off to a good start. Houston's going to take. I don't think anybody can be a fan of Houston because the cheating stuff is pretty much is the kiss of death when it comes to like casual fans. But Houston got off to a good start. They went on the road. They beat the crap out of Oakland. The other story has to be Boston. And it's not just because we're here, and it's because I don't want to make this a Boston versus New York show week after week, but my goodness, the Red Sox come out and they look like not ready, like just not ready to play. That Baltimore team, we talked about them as being one of the worst teams in the league, and they pretty much smacked them. I showed up at my in-laws' house yesterday. I'm like, well, at least the Red Sox will be on. Give me something to watch while I sit around and kids, get loaded up on Easter eggs. And it was like 10-0 when I walked in the door or something. It was a blowout from the jump. So I don't know what's going on in Boston. That's a problem. That doesn't look like a team that can play around in the wild card hunt at all. But yeah. And then one last thing, the kid from the Angels, who can pitch and hit. That's
Shohei Ohtani.
Is that ridiculous? They said today he's thrown the fastest fastball in the league, clocked at 100 and change. And then he has the hardest hit ball of the season at 100 and change. Like that's just he's like two superheroes in one. The kid's a freak. I hope he stays healthy.
451-foot home run in the same inning that he threw a 101-mile-an-hour fastball.
The poor kid, though, in that game, covers home plate, gets slid into. Supposedly they pulled him from the game because of a pitch count. It wasn't because they were worried about his ankle. But then I think the guy's name is either John or Joe Walsh or something. Jay Walsh. It's a walk-off home run. As he's coming down third, I've seen pictures. I haven't seen the video. Throws his helmet, almost hits Ohtani as he's coming off the bench to go celebrate. It's like if he can stay healthy, that kid is going to change the game. He could be not the second coming of Babe Ruth. I'm not trying to say that, but you could see a guy who strikes out 150, 200 batters and hits 30-plus home runs, and that's not a stat that's ever happened. It's
like crazy, like be an all-star at two positions.
Mm-hmm.
Like something like just straight bizarre. Like, yeah, this guy, he's top 5 in the Cy Young, and also he won the batting title.
Hey, for the record, guys. So I'm looking up as you guys are talking. I'm looking up the kid who hit the grand slam, and there's two stories I saw. And one is rookie Akil Baddoo homers on first pitch he sees. That's what you just talked about, Joe. And I'm like, wow, all right, maybe I should look into that one. But below that, there's an older woman with a short blonde haircut, and it says, "How Na Na Hey Hey Kiss Him Goodbye became the anthem to taunt opponents with." And I'm like, I got to read that.
That's in your wheelhouse right there.
Like that's where my baseball allegiance falls, I guess. Like, but I'm trying to watch it. I want to get excited about it. I did see some kids, some plays that I liked. I actually saw some pitching that I liked. There was a kid, I wrote it down. He went like 6 innings, had like 7 Ks and like 2 walks. I forget who he is, but he looked friggin' dominant to me. So I caught a couple of pitches that I thought, all right, I like watching pitchers. I know that sounds dumb, but I like watching those guys. And I'm not a big fastball pitcher guy. I love those guys who throw junk, and they'll just keep throwing junk for like as long as they possibly can. You know what I mean? And there's guys throwing sliders in the 95? Like it's off-speed pitches shouldn't be that fast, right? They should be slower than that. They're off speed. Like like is it that much faster now? Are they that much faster pitchers? Is that what I missed?
Well, am I going harder now than ever before? That's for sure.
Yeah.
Something. But their off stuff is faster.
A guy throws 50 pitches and he's got to come out, which makes fantasy baseball like it went from wins were the number one category for a starting pitcher. Judge, correct me if I'm wrong, right? When we were younger, it was like wins. Okay, this guy's a 20-win guy. We got to get this guy. Then it went to, well, anybody can get a win, so wins don't really matter because what really matters are the ratios, and wins are all luck. And now it's, how do I find guys that are going to pitch enough innings so they qualify for a win? Like I had a number of starts last week on my team where the guy, pitcher X threw 4 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball and didn't qualify for the win because he got yanked.
Yeah.
Super hard.
So one guy I do want to point out, and I want to point him out because I drafted him in my league, and I watched him start this week as well. John Means of Baltimore. There's going to be only one story that comes out of that team all year, and John Means, it's one start. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but for a lefty against a righty-heavy lineup, he shut the Red Sox down. He was filthy, and he's probably one of the best things coming out of Baltimore. So that's a guy I would watch for. But I know you were talking about guys who I think he had 5 or 6 Ks. I think he didn't walk about or he walked 1. He was on. And that first game, up until EO got pulled and Boston's bullpen crapped out a giant turd sandwich, EO and him had a pretty good little pitcher's duel going. But yeah, it's strikeouts.
Why can't they just have a pitcher's duel? Like why has the game changed to the point where those two guys just can't go out there and pitch 8 apiece and see what happens?
Well, I think EO was at like 97 pitches when they pulled him. I still think they should have, or he was in the 90s. They should have let. I don't know why Cora pulled. It was like he went like 5 1/3. And they pulled him after he got an out in the 6th. It's early. I guess they don't want guys' arms to fall off. Like I kind of get it, but it's tough now because the thing in baseball is middle relief. It was the Indians in like 2015 or 16. It was the Kansas City Royals. It was the Cubs. Those teams had middle relief that went into elite back half of the bullpen, and that's kind of where things are. Good starters. That's what you want, but teams want guys who can bridge from the 6th, 7th, 8th to the 9th. It's where baseball is now.
It's backwards too because in your pitching rotation, those middle inning guys are the least paid. They're the least thought of, and those are the guys where really a lot of these games are turning on. Who can you go to in the 5th, 6th, and 7th? Because you got a closer for the 9th, and you got a lefty and a righty specialist for the 8th, and that 5th, 6th, and 7th. That's where the games are being won and lost, and it's being won and lost by guys that you can't name unless you follow the team.
Yeah.
And
let me ask you. How many innings do starting pitchers go now? Because they used to go back in the day, 6 innings at least. You'd want 6 innings. If you could get 7, that was golden because then you'd have the setup guy come in and then your closer. What is it nowadays? 4, 5?
No, all right. That's kind of a loaded question. I guess typical starters do go still 6 innings is the mark for a quality start, depending on the earned runs that he's given up in the game. I'm sorry?
Will they go 7?
Yeah, I mean, if you get a good enough guy like a Shane Bieber, Garrett Cole, those type of like elite starting pitchers, Trevor Bauer will go 7. But a lot of teams now, especially out in I think Texas is one of the teams that might be doing things like this, is that opener, or you do like a dual starter where you have one guy who maybe isn't stretched out for 5, 6 innings, but he can throw you 3 or 4. So you get 2 kind of crap starters that nobody really sees as good full-time starters, but if they throw 3 innings in 3 innings, there's 6 innings, and neither guy is facing a lineup more than 2 times. And that's like the big analytical thing now, is a lot of managers don't want pitchers rather to face a lineup a 3rd time, because that's where the lineup usually starts to figure the pitcher out and start getting their hits, their runs, and all that. crazy crap, and that's what's killing baseball too, is the analytics. I can't stand it. Nobody manages with their gut anymore. They pull Blake Snell in the 6th inning in a game that he's pitching better than anyone has ever, and the Rays end up losing because of that move.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just where baseball is.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense. And analytics has crept its way, I should say.
I know.
Sport.
To add to that, first of all, the scheduled opener thing, that blows my mind. Right? Okay, all right, that's fine. Why are guys, we manage these kids in their arms and how many pitches and not only how many pitches from the stretch, how many pitches were in high intensity situations. And these guys get hurt 50 times more than the guys in the 70s, 80s, and 90s did. So whatever kind of precautions we're putting in place to keep these guys healthy, it's not working. So, the nerds have taken over baseball, and that's why it's more important than ever for baseball to figure out a way to get the ball in play. Because if the ball's in play, at least the action is exciting. Because the manager there's a lot about baseball that's like happening up here, and it's happening in the front office. Decisions are being made by executives and math nerds, and it really, as a casual fan, sometimes it can be hard to even understand it, let alone follow it. I mean, I'm more than a casual fan, so I understand what they're doing. But my father watch a game and like, what the hell are they taking this guy out for? Like, and you try and explain it, and he's onto YouTube. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm good.
I hear that. Hey, let's go over the 7:40 game. The Brewers at Cubs, in case anybody's looking to play this game. You got Brett Anderson going up against Trevor Williams. Cubs are 2-1. All 3 games have been at home. Tonight's game's at home as well. And the Brewers are 1-2, and they've played 3 away games as well. So this will be their 4th away game. I guess you would like the Cubs here, but the line's not that big. I mean, it's -111, and the over/under is 9.5 runs. Joe, what do you think about tonight's game?
So I actually like the Brewers in this situation. Brett Anderson is not a stud by any means, any stretch of the imagination, but the kid can pitch. He's another one of those guys where he's not known for longevity. I don't think he's ever pitched 200 innings. I'm looking at his 2019 stats. He threw 176 out of 31 starts. So he doesn't last long in the games, or doesn't do it consistently, but he's got a sub-4 ERA. He has had some success. The kid can throw. He's shown that he can throw. So I'm actually liking the Brewers in this situation, especially because the Cubs are. I mean, Trevor Williams. I don't have a lot of trust in his ability to really shut down a lineup that has Christian Yelich. He's had some success pitching for Pittsburgh though, so take that for what it is.
What about runs? They're going to score runs, these 2 teams, with an over/under of 9.5.
That's a tough number. It's
yeah,
numbers this early in the season. Yelich off to a bad start. I mean, it's only a weekend series, so when I say he's off to a bad start, it just means that he went 0-3 a couple times.
I like that number, though. I think they go over that number. I'm trying to look at the last couple of games they played to see what they scored at the total points combined.
A couple things about Milwaukee, because I'm kind of like a closet Bucks follower. I got my weird teams that I look at. But Jackie Bradley Jr. still has a job in baseball, so I probably lost. If you count the amount of times that I made the bet, will Jackie Bradley have a career, I must be in the hole $200,000. Because there's no reason this guy should still have a job, and his defense was overrated from day one. But Jackie Bradley hit a home run this weekend, which I thought was funny. Nesson cut into the game to show us yesterday. I thought that was glorious. And then I have the kid Wong, the second baseman from Milwaukee. I drafted him late. Remember we had our conversation about fantasy second baseman. I drafted him late, and it's the good thing about him right now is that he's batting leadoff. So if nothing else, you're getting extra at-bats from him with Yelich hitting right behind him. So he could be a candidate, for some sneaky runs scored. As far as this game, I will take the under because I think both teams can't hit yet. But I
got to tell you, I like the over. I actually just sold myself on the over, and I'll tell you why. Yesterday was 8-2. So these teams can hit, and the Brewers, I think, scored 8 yesterday. And if this pitcher you're telling me from the Cubs is going to throw some softballs up there, then I like that not over 9.5. If that's the case, because it was 8-2 yesterday, right? The Brewers did 8 runs yesterday. Oh no, there's any other.
Over underline in baseball, man. That's for brave men. That's brave stuff, because a lot of times that's really just a coin toss. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens tonight. Now I got to watch the Cubs Brewers because you disagree with me on the over under. So
hey, I'm the one that was felt uncomfortable about UCLA. You guys are telling me how great Gonzaga was. I'm going, and I'm going to bet UCLA because I don't like the way that you guys are talking about this game. And look what happened with that. I asked you, how could they lose? You said it was something like
the basketball show. I thought the Baylor game was going to come down to the wire, and I thought the Gonzaga game was going to have everyone to bed by halftime, and it just shows that I don't know a damn thing, because that's not the way it works out.
I think it just shows when those kids get a chance that they play their balls off. Now, let's go to the 9:30 games tonight because I want to get these games out there so people can go bet them the track.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, the best game of the night is going to be Houston and the Angels. Will be a good series.
That's the next one. So it's Houston versus the Angels. Houston is 4-0. The Angels are 3-1. We got Jose Quintana pitching for the Angels, going up against Luis Garcia, the Astros. Who do we like? Over under is 10.
I could see the over on that. This Luis Garcia, Luis Garcia. I don't. He doesn't really have much of a career. If we're being honest, I think he looks like he must be. I'm assuming this kid's either a rookie or he got a little bit of work in last year. He only threw 12 1/3, so I would probably take the over on that. The Angels lineup has been mashing. Jose Quintana's really lost it this year. Actually, not this year. He's lost it over the past few years. He's not as reliable as he used to be. And a lefty pitcher against that Angels lineup, I think they're gonna eat him alive.
Astros are without 8 pitchers due to COVID protocol tonight.
That's perfect.
That's your opinion.
Not only do they need Garcia to pitch, right? They need him to pitch like 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could be bad.
Right. Astros manager Dusty Baker named Garcia the team's 5th starter Wednesday. That tells me they were like, we got to just throw somebody out there because we're missing 8 pitches. So that's a good candidate to go over.
I mean, Houston's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys batting like over 400 right now. I know it's early, but they got guys with stats already. Whereas you look at the Yankees, one guy's got a home run, one guy's got 2 RBIs. Houston looks like they're in the middle of a playoff series. RBIs. Bregman's already got 5, and Alvarez already has 6, and Tucker already has 7. So yeah, Houston's going to score some runs. So
who do we like in that game then? Houston and what? The over under? What?
I like the Astros in that game. I think not the Astros, rather the Angels in that game. I think the Angels are on a hot start. They're playing with a lot of enthusiasm. I think they're showing up behind Shohei. I think that show is going to keep going. Although he might not be in the lineup today. But because I think because that ankle, they're being tentative with the ankle that got slid into. But I like the Angels. It's another team I like to root for because man, I'd like to see Trout get something in his career outside of just a bunch of hardware saying he himself was the greatest player of all time.
Slidden? Is that a word? Slidden?
Slidden. So yeah, I mean, I can make it a word.
It's slid, right?
Slid. Yeah, I mean.
You said slidden. SLIDDEN. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't use that word as a post word. It's slid. Go ahead, TJ. I'm like, slid.
Never mind that. I just want to talk about Aaron Judge just homered.
Did
Yankees go up 1-0, and Gary Sanchez. What is this? The 4th game? Is this the 4th game of the season?
Yeah.
4th game. He's got his 3rd error behind the plate. So, it's about time to turn Gary Sanchez into a DH.
It would work out perfectly if Judge and Giancarlo Stanton weren't out in the same outfield. Somebody has to be a first baseman out of those 3. One of them has to start playing first.
The first baseman's a monster too.
I got a question.
Well,
you help me out.
Well, they gotta trade Gary Sanchez. Really, they got to trade him. That's what you do with him. He's not a catcher. You can't have a catcher making an error every game. And this is in meaningless games. Like in crunch time of a Yankee game, you want them to put the ball in play because you're scared Gary Sanchez will drop it.
I could argue in 2018 in the ALDS, Sox and Yankees, Gary Sanchez had a couple pass balls that I think very much changed the complexion of that series.
And
it's
not only that, it changes the way you got to pitch.
Yeah.
You can't throw a splitter with a guy on base because you know it's like a rolling the dice if he's going to get it. So not only are you worried about the errors, you're going to stay up in the zone and you're going to throw fastballs because the guy can't catch. He's like, and that's the name of the fucking job is catcher. If he can't catch the ball. Anyway, Yankees up 1-0.
All right, question.
Yep.
Is stolen bases up this year, or am I just imagining that as I peruse all the scores from opening day moving forward? It seems like there's a lot of stolen bases. It just seems like they're stealing bases more this year. Anything to that?
I mean, I could say that they deadened the ball this year. So it's possible that, maybe guys with some speed, they're letting them run loose just to try to advance guys because they know the balls might not be traveling out of the yard as much as they did last year. Because I do know home runs are down, hard hit contact is down, and then strikeouts are also way up this year too. Right now in the first series of the year, so it's possible that they're just trying to get guys advanced, knowing that there's not going to be as many balls flying out of the yard.
It would be nice going back to baseball. It would be nice if we went back to running and going from first to third and doing these kinds of things that make the game beautiful. I don't know the stats on stolen bases. I know I won the category in my league last week, so that was good. It was a very unimpressive debut by my team, which I did select falling up 3 stairs as the team name. And we took a beating last week. But stolen bases are an exciting part of the game, though. Unfortunately, if you're a Yankee fan, Red Sox fan, you don't get to actually see that.
Nope.
But I do like to watch the highlights of people running on the bases.
I still sometimes have to double check Jacoby Ellsbury's stats from like 2016. He had like 52 or 53 stolen bases, and I have to every now and then I'll go back and just be like, that happened, right? Yeah, it did. All right, I remember that.
Remember the year he stole home at Fenway on Sunday Night Baseball?
Yeah,
I was there on the third baseline. I was in the building when he stole home. It was amazing. The level of excitement when he did that, and I don't like the Red Sox, but you couldn't help but get caught up in like, what the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
You don't see that anymore. It's just, and then he came to New York and took all our men.
Secret agent the Red Sox sent over there.
So Zach Greinke, right, is 37 years old. He pitched 6 innings, had 4 Ks. He didn't give up a single run. His WHIP was 0.5. So what? He put somebody get to what? Second? Is that what that means? Isn't it?
Walks plus hits divided by innings pitch.
So, anyways. I thought he's one of those people that I was like, I was impressed by, but then I'm like, he's 37. And I immediately, my mind goes, well, he's all done. But that's not the case, right? For pitchers in Major League Baseball, they can hang around for a while, correct?
Depends on if they know how to pitch. And by that, I mean, you look at like Cliff Lee reinvented himself in his career. Cliff Lee pitched for Cleveland, I think, and then he went to the Phillies after that. But he was a guy who threw gas, and then as he got older, he couldn't throw the same velocity, so he worked more on his secondary pitches and learned how to pitch with finesse and control, and was able to spot his pitches as opposed to just kind of cranking it in there. Verlander is another great example where his velocity is diminished, but he's been able to adjust as he's gotten older and been able to just kind of spot pitches better and manage the game better.
And body type matters too, You got
for what?
Pedro was. You could tell when Pedro, even when he was in his peak, no one had illusions he was going to be able to pitch. He was 38. He weighed 140 pounds. But some of these big country boys can throw and throw. Nolan Ryan still hits 80 on the gun. He's like 70.
Yeah. Clemens too.
Yeah, Clemens throws hard. Yeah. I saw an ad of him pitching a college game. He still had a little on the curveball too.
Yeah,
he got a couple hits on him though.
See, Pedro was just way too tiny for the way he threw. I mean, I remember watching him throw, thinking that his back's got to hurt. Like everything's got to hurt when he's done. But you're right. Yeah. Clemens had that just gigantic physique of a pitcher. Like he definitely had the build to go long. Yeah,
massive legs.
Mm-hmm. That's where it comes from. CC Sabathia was the same way. I mean, that guy was a bigger guy, but he had a lot of lower half power. And that's kind of the thing with pitchers is, I mean, yeah, you can be Chris Sale and you can whip your arm and do this crazy arm motion and get a lot of velocity on your pitches. But if you're a guy like now it's escaping me, Big Sexy, what was his name? It'll come to me in about an hour after this.
Sport and wrestling, it would be Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash. No, it was oh God, I can't believe it's escaping me now. But he pitched for years, won a Cy Young with the Angels, was around for a while. But it's all about your bottom half. I mean, if you've got big thighs and you've got a big ass, I mean, these guys.
Because who the hell is big, sexy, and
Bartolo Colon? Bartolo Colon.
Yes,
I knew
big.
That would have bothered me. But
And
he's a guy.
He was cool.
He's a guy who pitched for like 20 years. I mean, and he wasn't super effective his last 5 or 6 seasons, but he could still pitch. He's still cranking home runs in his hometown right now across the pond. Well, not across the pond.
When he came up, he was nasty.
Yeah, he won a Cy Young, I think, in 2001 or 2 or 2000, something like that.
I saw CC Sabathia at a Celtics game, and he was as tall as all the basketball players. He's a monster. He had on like a Biggie Smalls t-shirt. I swear to God, like a billboard. He's gigantic. He really is.
So I was a left-handed hitter, and the reason I stopped playing baseball is because I found out there were left-handed pitchers, and when they stand on the mound, that damn thing is scary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm petrified of what would happen. Chris Sale scares the life out of me, but CC Sabathia being up there, he must be almost 7 feet when he's standing on that mound, and he's throwing a curveball that's coming at your head, and it's like landing in the outside corner. Yeah, I'm good.
Well, look at Randy Johnson. He was like, what, 6'10"?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
And
anyone who blows up a bird is I'm good.
Best video ever.
Yeah.
Boom. Go on.
All right, hey, so guys, we did our fantasy team. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I don't know if one of you guys can pull it up. I've got it up here. I don't know what we think about the team so far. We're in 7th place out of 10, which is not good for guys who, do a fantasy baseball show.
It's a long season.
Let me see if should I share my screen? Is that what I should do? Because I want you guys to see
So
this.
coming to your league, week 1, 4 games.
I'm sorry?
How'd you do in your first 4 games?
I'm actually leading right now. So we're actually the first. So this week is kind of a longer week. So we're still doing our first head-to-head matchup.
Oh, we should have done that.
Yeah. But, I mean, I feel like my team's pretty strong. In my own league, I'm up almost 100 right now. So, I mean, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy with the way things are shaping out for me this first half season. And I don't have what I think is great pitching, but I think it's good enough.
Can you see this? All right.
It's us?
Yeah, so both our catchers hit a home run.
All right. Can we get rid of the guy that's in the minors? Do we have a bench spot?
Yeah, right here, Jared.
Can we get him on the bench somehow?
He's an outfielder. Let's look up who's free agents. These are the 9 pitchers. What's that?
Those are free agents?
Yeah.
Unless Marcelo Ozuna got hit by a bus today, go pick him up right now. What is he doing there?
Marcel Ozuna.
I will say he hasn't been off to a great start, but I agree. I'd pick him up in a heartbeat. That guy is liable for 25 plus and some steals.
Maybe people know stuff that we don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing against him in my paid league, and he's really not starting out well. But again, it's 3 games into the season, so you can't really blow up a team or panic with some guys only putting up half a point.
I wonder why they would drop him that quick. Yeah, because he did get dropped.
I mean, he's won for the season, but he was projected by CBS anyway to be the 36th ranked player. I think I got him in the 3rd round of my league, and you'll see that in fantasy baseball. So I went 2-9-1 last week. Ours is a head-to-head league, so I went 2-9-1. And you watch the guy who came in, I don't know, 3-8 or whatever his record was ahead of me. He already dropped like 4 guys. It's like, you drafted him last week. They had 12 at-bats, and you're going to reconstruct your whole team. By all means, I'll pick him up. But my goodness.
Yeah. That's the same to be said in all fantasy sports, man. You have to have patience. Look, you drafted people for a reason, right? You got to give them at least a month, I would think, in baseball, right, to see if they're going to be good or not, if they're going to do what you thought, right? I mean, you can't be pulling the trigger this quick. Like anybody that pulls the trigger, I think within the first week's an idiot. Like,
no, I mean, it's a 27-man roster for most of the league. So there's guys I'll take when I draft them. I'm already drafting them knowing that I'm gonna drop them as soon as I find somebody who seems to have a better role, because during the draft you don't have unlimited time to scout, right? So, but I'm not drafting a guy I took in the 6th round. I mean, dropping a guy I took in the 6th round because he's off to a shitty start. Like that just doesn't make sense, you know. So that was good that we got to sneak him in.
Those are our pitchers. I always draft whatever sport it is. I always pick the last person. I always say to myself, he's going to be my swing person. Like I'm going to change him multiple times, so I'm not going to fall in love with this last person I pick. So Joe, those are our pitchers. I don't know if you think we should change or add anybody. That's what we got on the bench. Hicks.
I mean, I actually love that. If we're being honest. There is a lot of good potential in that pitching staff. I mean, Eflin is a wild card. I mean, that kid is still young. He's got talent. He's not lived up to it. I mean, again, I'm not sure what Domingo Germán's going to bring. But I mean, everybody else up there. I mean, Blake Snell, bona fide ace. Patrick Corbin, high strikeout. Zach Greinke still bringing it at 37 million.
Mike,
Atani obviously showed what he's got. So.
I got to ask this right here.
Go ahead.
Are you going on here every day and adjusting the lineup?
No.
You got to give me the username and password so we can adjust the lineup, because if Blake Snell's sitting around if we got guys that are starting that are sitting on the bench, that's no bueno in baseball.
Yeah.
Are these starters? These 3 guys?
Marquez is. Pomerantz is kind of a late inning / closer with how San Diego's using it.
That means, see those 2 blue balls over there next to Marquez? That means he's pitching twice this week. And if we don't put him in our lineup, he can throw 2 no-hitters and we get no credit for it. So if you want to hook me up with the username and password to CBS, or however you can work that, I'll put the lineup in every day, so at least we're competing.
All right.
I'll do this. I can do the same.
Put the lineup in for my basketball and teams. I don't want to show up and you know what I mean?
Because, I mean, I don't know how many folks are on here for gambling or how many are on for fantasy, but fantasy rule number 1 is it's a war of attrition.
Yeah.
You got to go in there and do it every day. It'll put you in the money, because there's guys in your league that aren't going to do it, no matter what league you're in.
I definitely will, because I don't want to be the guy to be doing that. That's what drives me nuts about fantasy baseball, is how you're going to be on top of it the whole time.
I'll tell you one thing that works out for me is this league I've been in. I've been winning with a group of guys for about 5 or 6 years now. I'm one of maybe only one other person who lives on the East Coast. Everyone else is either Central or West Coast time zone. So every Monday when the waiver wire resets, I usually get first pick every morning of whoever I want, unless waiver claims were put in and stuff. So it's been like that for years, and I love it. It's one of the nice little caveats.
Do they understand the advantage you have?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've talked about it in our drafts and in our group messages and stuff, and it is what it is. But I end up getting very lucky on Monday mornings. I'll sit at work, or Monday mornings now I don't really work. On Mondays I'll sit there and just put who's available, like what's going on, what's here, and it works out pretty good.
That's cool if you can get it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I said there's this. I just got my first demand that apparently I need to start adjusting the team. All right, let's go over the rest of the games, because again, for our betting constituents, I hate words like that. I really do. God damn it, constituents. For the betting constituents, let's go for the rest of the games. Dude, if I get stuck on a word like that, like I'll walk around now for the rest of the night using that word over and over and over, no matter what it is, because I can't believe how dumb I am that I can't pronounce it. That's one of those things I have, like constituents. God damn it! All right, we got the Dodgers at the Athletics, 9:40. The Dodgers are 3-1. Athletics, which I think is
0-4.
Dumb name for team. Always has. Never liked it. The I like the A's. The A's sounds great, but the Athletics, no good, no bueno.
What's even better is their symbol is an elephant on a balancing on a ball. I mean, what are we doing? Come on, it's 2021.
It's like a big top circus, but that means has
Yeah.
nothing to do with athletics.
We're changing the Indians. I want to start a petition to change the athletics. I feel like that's I don't like what they're showing with elephants being shown on stage.
Let me ask you something in reality though. If they get rid of the Indians, Braves are next, right?
I think
they get rid of the Nationals. I mean, to me, I think the Nationals would be the first to go. You know what I mean? Like the Nationals, like people can't stand if you show pride. And then I'm thinking, the Angels. Why not get rid of the Angels?
I think that's going too far.
Well, they're going to get rid of the Angels. If you ask the Democrat constituents of Joe Biden, they'll get rid of the Angels right when they ban the Bible. So that'll be happening soon. They've already proposed a law to ban religious teachings from being sold. So, they'll get rid of the Angels at that time. The Indians, which definitely we should ban the Indians because that offends nobody. So they'll do that. You know what we should do? We should just name all the major league teams like public schools in New York. So it can be like the Oakland PS 126s. And that way we don't offend anybody. But if you want to ask about this game, the Dodgers, I mean, how do you not take the Dodgers if you have to bet on this game?
Yeah.
Because this is your bomber. This is where you make your money on a long shot. This is where you get that upset because you know why? They should. Every sign points to them winning. The A's haven't won a game. They're 0-4 at home. It's their 5th game at home. They haven't won yet. They're playing at 40. I like them. I like them in that spot, man. I do well when I bet. I'm being honest when I bet long shots for baseball. Upsets I do really well. So I'll tell you what. I'm going to write them up and down, and we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what, though. I agree in the aspect of, logic says the Dodgers are going to wipe the floor. Look at the pitching matchup, though. Frankie Montas and Dustin May. Montas has shown he could pitch. Dustin May is still kind of young and unproven. You have no idea how that could go. And that A's team has talent in the lineup. So well, actually, this way. It could be an upset.
Plus it's baseball. I mean, the Paw Sox go in the Major League Baseball next. They're not going to lose all 162 games. It's not like
they might.
I don't think so. They'll get a win in baseball. Somebody's going to get a win.
Some of my best parlays have been betting baseball. When I used to bet baseball, that's when I was just a 3-team parlay of some long shots.
Then you look at Oakland and Mitch Moreland's batting cleanup tonight.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, but it's been working for him. So I can't say working for him because they're 0-4, but he's driven in some runs. So I don't why Matt Olson isn't 4th in that lineup is beyond me. But it's
I'll tell you why.
Or Ramon Mariano.
Because somebody in Billy Bean's accounting club decided that they had some reason why this should be the lineup.
Yeah, because they don't want to have to end up paying these guys money for stats that they put up. Yeah, it's
just knock 60 at bats off our best hitter, and that'll help us.
It's why Betts in 2019 went from batting 2nd, where they had a hell of a lineup, to batting cleanup. And I mean, Graham, I'm not going to say that's why the lineup tanked, but it's one of those things where they put him 4th because Betts wanted to get his stats so he could get his money. Mm-hmm. And it's that's a whole other thing that kills me with baseball is you guys are making $300 million, $200 million. I mean, just be happy with what you're getting. I mean, I wish I could make $1 million to play baseball. And that's you want to be paid what you're worth. I get it, but that's a different story for a different day.
I take $50,000 a year to play baseball, my friend. That's it. That's why you got to pay me. I'm there. I don't happen to coach TJ, but all right, let's just go
maybe I offended him
as quickly as we can. You ready? The White Sox, the Mariners. White Sox are 1-3. Mariners are 2-1. You got Carlos Rodon pitching up against Justice Sheffield.
I like the White Sox in this one. Sheffield's still young, unproven arm. He has talent, still young. I like the White Sox in this. That team's due to get some wins.
Is that Gary Sheffield's son?
I don't think so. No, I think that's just a coincidence.
No, he was a top.
If that's his son, you got to take Gary Sheffield's son. That's just how that goes. All right. So we like in that game. You said again, the Mariners.
No, I White Sox. I like the White Sox.
With the White Sox. Next game. We have 2 more games to wrap before we wrap it up. Giants 1-2. And just one more game left actually. Giants 1-2 playing the Padres. That 3-1. Padres are pitching Adrian Morahan, I guess. And then for the Giants is Anthony DeSclafani. There you go, DeSclafani. You know what? I'm going to go with the Giants right away as the upset in this one because DeSclafani's name is so gigantic that there it is. That's how I do it.
It's not a bad idea. I could see that game going either way. The Padres have been playing a little iffy this season, so
only 8 under. What do you think about the over and under, Joe? 8. It's only 8 on this one.
I could see it going over. I mean, neither of those pitchers are known for keeping runs down.
All right, so I'm going to go with the A's, the Giants, and the over on the Giants game. It's going to be a 3-team parlay, all long shots that will pay really well. We got 5 minutes left. Anything else you want to touch on, TJ?
Yeah, just for our fantasy players, now's not panic time. It's definitely not panic time. Now is the time to be extra diligent and take advantage of mistakes that other people in your league are going to make. You know, I think this is the time of year. And then the second thing is don't give up guys who are on the DL if it's the 10-day DL, which we might have to talk about that, Joe, about how the 10-day DL has affected fantasy.
Yeah.
But the 10-day DL doesn't mean drop the guy he's hurt. It doesn't mean that at all. It means you got to put him on your bench for a week, for a cycle before you get him back in the lineup. So, yeah, it's early in fantasy baseball. Our league, we used the 3-day week. I wish we didn't, but we did what we did. So I'm curious to see how things start to shape up, you know, as these teams start to get to know each other.
Yeah, and to add on that too, so I actually did that in my draft. I drafted Robbie Ray, knowing that he's not going to start until probably like early-ish mid-April. But I mean, the guy when he's pitching, it's strikeouts. And like we were saying earlier, wins don't really matter as much. You only get 3 guys who are going to hit 20 wins. So you go for high strikeouts, and Robbie Ray is one of them. And I also took advice that you kind of gave last week. I I forget who I dropped, a reliever, and added Severino. And I'm stashed him on my IL because I think he could be a big arm going down the stretch in the summer. Especially when you need guys, I think Severino could be a real good stash.
Got to play the long game. It's a long game. You got to play the long game. You can't do what you do in football where you got to win that week because every game is so key. In baseball, it's so long.
Yep.
Guys, really quickly, tomorrow's games, Greinke's pitching again. Anybody that you're looking to see play tomorrow that maybe like you'd say to me, hey, Mike, this is a guy like Tyler Glasnow. Someone was talking about him. I forget what they were saying about him, that he'd be worth watching. It was a reason, but I can't remember why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Glasnow pitch tomorrow. Being a Red Sox fan, I'll be watching that game. That kid's got a lot of talent. He came over in a trade to the Rays from the Pittsburgh Pirates when they absolutely pantsed the Pirates in the Chris Archer deal. They got Glasnow, Austin Meadows. They might have gotten one other guy in that trade that I'm not remembering, but those two are the guys that, I mean, Glasnow's had elbow issues, but if he's pitching, he's electric, and Austin Meadows is just an animal. So I'd be looking out for that Rays team in Glasnow. It'd also be interesting to see what Marcus Stroman's got for the Mets and what looks like his first start this season. Actually, it is his first start because they didn't play their first series because of, the big C virus.
Mm-hmm.
And Kershaw's coming off a bombing, right? Didn't he get beat up in his first game? Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. He pitches tomorrow. He's 0-1 with an ERA of 7.94.
Yeah, he got touched up.
Can someone tell me why Aaron Hicks is batting third when he's hitting under 100? He just flew out with the bases loaded. Like, why can't I just do the lineup? Like, the Yankees should let me do the lineup. I guarantee 10 extra wins. There is no reason in the world Aaron Hicks should be batting third today. And, of course, he comes up with the bases loaded. And, of course, instead of it being blown open, it's a 2-1 ball game. And this is why I hate the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't understand what the Yankees' obsession with Hicks has been. I mean, he had a good season when they picked him up, but he's on the decline of his career, and he's been injured.
I mean, he's not a bad Major League Baseball player. If he's batting seventh and playing left, I have no problem with that. Or playing center and batting seventh. He can't be the guy that comes up when the bases are loaded because Judge and LeMahieu are always on base, and he's wasting him out there.
Yeah,
Mike's like, hey, two nerds. I know,
no,
Mike.
Listen, if anyone has any fantasy baseball questions, feel free to drop us an email, legitfantasysports@gmail.com. Legitfantasysports@gmail.com. I'll make sure that one of these two guys gets a hold of it and then give you back some information. Because if I get a hold of it, I'm probably going to tell you to take a backup catcher. And you're not going to want that info.
Yeah, I saw we had 2 catchers on that roster.
Both good home runs. All right.
I'm going to get that password eventually. We'll straighten that right out.
So, gonna wrap it up and go over to Legit Fantasy Basketball, which will be streaming live next. Any last words again, Joe?
Tarek Skubal, if he's available in your fantasy league, pick him up.
TJ?
Good night, gentlemen.
Then for me, Mike Lepre King, Mike L. This was Legit Fantasy Baseball for the coach TJ, for Joey Paranormal. Thank you so much. LegitFantasySports.com. Stay tuned for basketball.